2018 was a big sewing year for me. I made more than I've ever made and really refined my personal style. My 2017 sewing video showed a lot of what I call Minnie Mouse dresses, inspired by the costumes Minnie Mouse wears and special occasion pieces, but 2018 was the year I began to change my style to be more 1960s inspired with more casual, everyday pieces. The first thing I made was the skirt for my Chanel suit, which was on my Make 9, using Simplicity 2154. I toiled this style in its lining fabric, but I didn't need to make any fit adjustments for this pattern, but I did deviate from the pattern by inserting a lapped centre back zipper rather than an invisible zipper on the side seam. The skirt was made using a navy checked thick cotton from Minerva Crafts. Continuing with loyalty to my Make 9, I made my Thérèse Bellevet inspired pinafore using Cynthia Rowley for Simplicity 2215 as the base and lowering the neckline to a deeper U shape at both front and back. I used the width of the fabric for the skirt, gathered into the waist, and added side seam patch pockets. The dress is unlined with a bias binding facing in a matching green around the neckline and armhole. The fastening is a centre-back lap zip. The dress is made from a dark green cotton with white floral design given to me by my gran, and I believe it's from the 70s, based on the design and the narrow width of the fabric. For Valentine's Day, I wanted to make a special dress with some heart print cotton I've had in my stash since a trip to Paris in 2009. I used my hand-drafted pattern, the same as my biscuit dress from 2017, with a more obnoxiously large collar in red velvet. Again, the skirt is the width of the fabric with side seam pockets. The fastening is my favourite, a centre-back lapped zipper. I don't reach for this dress aside from holidays like Valentine's, and I also wear it at Christmas, so I'm thinking about shortening the skirt to just above the knee to make it more wearable. Let me know what you think. With 2017 having been my big Minnie Mouse phase, I wanted to make a pair of bloomers to wear with my more ridiculous ensembles. These are great for preventing chub rub and also great for windy days and bending over without exposing myself. I made them from a self-drafted pattern after watching a few YouTube videos of DIY Lolita bloomers, and the fabric is a polka dot cotton I bought on eBay over 10 years ago with eyelet lace trims and elastic at the waist and hems. One of my 2018 resolutions was to avoid buying new fabric for projects as much as possible, so I made this blue gingham crop top as a stash buster. I used some blue polycotton gingham I've had in my stash since 2014 when I made a Dorothy Gale dress. I used Simplicity 1364, a reproduction pattern of a 60s shell top. I took the waist and centre back seams in a fair amount and cropped the length. The top fastens with a short lap zipper at the centre back neck, because of course, that's my favourite type of fastening. I wear this all the time with high-waisted jeans or shorts. Getting back on my 2018 Make 9, the next thing I made was the Tilly and the Buttons Coco top in a plain black jersey. This was my first time sewing jerseys since doing my degree, when we did a module on dancewear, and I had never sewn stretch fabrics on my own sewing machine before. I really enjoyed this project and would definitely recommend it for the stretch curious. I made the 3/4 sleeve version without the collar, cuffs or hem slits, using jersey from Minerva Crafts. I had read a tip on the sewing blog By Gum by Golly about using Wonder tape rather than pinning the hem and neckline to get a neat and even finish when sewing, which I've done with every jersey project since, and it really helps to keep it flat when you're using the sewing machine. This was my birthday dress for 2018. I made it with Simplicity 1459, a reproduction 1950s shirt dress sewing pattern. I had some issues with the undercollar rolling out and being seen, which I tried to get around with additional ironing. I don't believe I made any alterations to the fit of the bodice or sleeves, but I changed the skirt to use the full width of the fabric rather than the pattern pieces, something I usually do because it's easier, and I honestly can't be bothered to cut out a piece of paper to then cut out a rectangle. I also added a side seam pocket on the opposite side to the zipper. I haven't worn this dress as much as I wanted to, and it may be one of the last 1950s style full skirted dresses I make, since I don't tend to wear them as often. This fabric is a polycotton I bought from John Lewis in 2011 and has languished in my stash ever since. The buttons on the centre front of the dress are made using one of those button making machines. Every year I rewatch Mad Men in full, and on my 2018 rewatch I fell in love with a casual ensemble worn by Betty Draper when she goes camping. I saw the floral fabric on a green base and realised I had something vaguely similar in my stash, so I went about making my own version. I made this using a self-drafted pattern, printed cotton given to me by my gran, and buttons from my stash. There is a yoke in the back and a pleat detail at the centre back, and the armholes are all faced with self-binding. My next make was the Delphine skirt from Tilly and the Button's first book, Love at First Stitch. This is a perfect book for beginners, with each project adding new skills to your list, and although I have a degree in sewing, I was really happy to do a simple project. This was another stash buster, using printed baby cord that was left over from a project in the late noughties. I made a few changes. I cut the width of the waistband in half to make it narrower, and I also inserted a lapped zipper instead of a concealed one, because that's something I normally do. I'd been obsessed with the idea of a sailor dress for a long time, so I decided to use this fabric from my stash. Again! A red cotton polka dot with navy polka dot trims left over from my shirt dress made in 2017. I used my self-drafted shirt dress pattern and adjusted the neckline to accommodate a sailor collar. The full skirt is gathered, with a side seam zipper and pocket inserted on the other side seam. In retrospect, I have not worn this as much as I wanted to. This was definitely the last make of my Minnie Mouse phase, and I wear it maybe once or twice a year. I'm considering updating the skirt to be wide leg shorts, and I can imagine frolicking around by the beach in a play suit. Speaking of shorts, here's my next project. Every year I go on a picnic in the park with friends, and I really wanted a little picnic-perfect two-piece. This was made from the same pattern as my 60s slacks, just with adjusted leg widths. They were super comfy when I first made them, but I've since gained a little weight, making them slightly too tight for comfort. The top is made using the same Simplicity 1364 pattern as the blue gingham top, with similar adjustments. This set was made from a large red and off-white gingham check fabric I made into a table skirt when we lived in a previous house share, so this had been sitting waiting for me to make something exciting out of it for almost a year. I wear the top a lot separately with high-waisted jeans or denim shorts in the summer months. My next make was this beautiful gathered skirt. It's made from this gorgeous embroidered cotton fabric I purchased at Mood during the summer 2017, and it's originally by Anna Sui. I made sure to match the embroidery design at the side seams for a super neat, seamless finish. She had side seam pockets, of course, and fastens with a side seam lapped zip. I don't really wear gathered skirts very often, but it always gets lots of compliments, and it's perfect for going somewhere slightly fancier with a blouse or smart cardigan. And it's super lightweight, so perfect for warm weather or days where I know I'll be sitting on the floor and want to preserve my modesty with a wide skirt. This smock has really grown on me. This is a design from, excuse my pronunciation, Ottobre magazine, issue 2/2018, which I thought looked lovely on the model, but very lumpy on me. When I first made it, I thought, God, when am I ever going to wear this? It's so ugly and unflattering. But I wear it a lot when I'm feeling a bit unwell and need to get dressed, if I'm travelling somewhere and want to be comfy, and now it's so good to have during the Great Plague of 2020. I made it from a blue gingham tablecloth I bought at Tiger, and it has a keyhole fastening at the back with a button. The next thing I made was this apple print Simplicity 1609, a 1960s Jiffy reproduction pattern. When I first made it, it fit really well, but now it's slightly too tight due to the aforementioned weight gain. I expected the skirt to be more A-line than this, to be honest, so in future I think I'll reshape the skirt before cutting out. I made it from leftover fabric from the matching apple two-piece I made in 2017, and it fastens with a centre-back lapped zip. So I saw the Tilly and the Button's Freya, and I was obsessed with it, so I bought the stretch book on the back of that and made this one in a black and white striped fabric from Minerva Crafts. I love this top and I wear it all the time, but I made it from a low stretch jersey and I have to really squeeze the neckline over my head. I've really learned a lot about the stretch properties of different jerseys. They're not all the same. I've made a second one, but I really want to buy a few different jerseys and bulk make a few, since mock necks are really a staple in my wardrobe. On a bit of a Tilly and the Buttons high, I made a Coco dress. This is the long sleeve version with the standing fold-over collar. I made this from Ponte Roma, my first time using it, and I pre-washed it once. However, after the second wash, the sleeves shrunk. One day I'll take them up to 3/4 so they look like they're supposed to be short. The fabric is, again, from Minerva Crafts. Another pattern repeat, I decided I needed a pair of simple black slacks, so I made a pair with Simplicity 4548 with size adjustments the same as the pink checked pair I made in 2017. I also altered the pattern to add front pockets, which are just very necessary. I love these trousers, they're really comfy and they were fairly easy to make. The fabric is black cotton sateen from Minerva Crafts, which I like, but it does attract fluff. I got so much wear out of my cord spot Delphine that I decided to make a grey version from this faux wool fabric, which was left over from a skirt I made my sister, so now we're skirt twins. I did the same adjustments as with the red cord fabric, and it's come in very handy. So from my make 9, I only actually made about 2.5 of them. Oops. However, most of the fabrics came from my stash, so I feel a bit better about this. I really hope you enjoyed seeing everything I made in 2018. I've already started working on my 2019 videos, so you can look out for that soon.